What is good, everyone? This is Boyo and the Beard. I'm Boyo. This is the Beard. Brian, how you feeling tonight?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Doing all right. We went to Sinzetti's tonight. A great bit of Italian cuisine. It's basically an upper class Golden Corral. Really, nothing.
Well, you're killing it then, right?
Had to be rolled out.
Yeah.
They had to put me on a stretcher, roll me out. So I'm doing pretty well. Um, decent bit of goods going on here recently. I know we missed here last night. KSU was playing Montana State, took on the dub. How you feeling about the rest of the tournament, Brian?
Well, you're gonna be a K-State fan. Yeah, you gotta hope for a win every time, but definitely worried about Kentucky. I don't think I have us going further than the Sweet 16. Just new coach, new system, trying to figure it out. So I think it's a good starting point to show other recruits that we're going in the right direction at least.
To be fair, better than the other Kansas school. The Jayhawks took a big L tonight, lost to
You know?
Arkansas. They didn't look too good. I don't know. I'm not big into March Madness, college basketball in general. It's just not fun. I don't know. Too many whistles. Too many refs get involved in the game, and I don't know.
Yep.
Should not necessary. Chiefs, though, that's what we're talking about here today. We're going to free agency, really. Chiefs, we added a few, not necessarily the big names that everyone I think was hoping for, but I think we had some pretty good players. What do you think about them?
First one kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody really talked about it. Right tackle Jawan Taylor.
Yeah,
Um, Everyone thought we were still trying to figure out the Orlando Brown deal, and I feel like he was wanting more than we were willing to give up. Um, It'll be interesting. He played pretty good last year for the Jags on the right side, only giving up, I think, four or six sacks, but limited pressures is what a lot of the pundits are talking about. Was didn't give up many pressures.
less than 20, I think, is what they were saying.
I think it
Problematic
was
though. Oh, sorry.
sorry. I'll say I think he had 16 or something pressures. Six of those converted to sacks or something. Orlando Brown had 54 pressures and he only had four sacks. Again, I think it's definitely a product of Mahomes being able to maneuver, get out of the pocket, and make some kind of crazy throws. You would assume having 54 pressures given up that there would be more sacks than the four that he gave up. So I think that's kind of a product of Mahomes, and it's one of those things where
Pretty elusive. I think they talked about those were kind of schemed. I mean, half of the pressures maybe schemed
yeah, true,
ordeals. To be fair though, Jawan Taylor, I mean, I guess I think he's played 18 snaps on at the left tackle
very
spot.
minimal. Yep.
They're hoping that his athleticism is able to translate over, and we'll see how things go. I think in general, you just need someone. I mean, that is the most important spot,
On
bar
the line.
on the line, maybe on the offense, but besides the QB, to be fair. So Jawan Taylor's got some big shoes to
Uh,
fill. He's got to protect the goats in waiting. So
yeah, I was
we'll
gonna
see
say.
how it goes.
I mean, we made Brown work at left tackle. He was considered a right tackle his entire career. So I feel like O line coach knows how to convert those guys to do what we need them to do. Um, Looking at the deal that we gave him, looks like
80, 80 million, 60 million guaranteed, right?
yeah, it looks like he got way more than Orlando Brown. But I feel like Orlando Brown kind of, if you don't get signed that first day, your value decreases, and I think that was one of the big talking points of, well, we paid more for Jawan Taylor than Orlando Brown, and well, we also signed Jawan Taylor in the first 3 hours or 4 hours of free agency compared to Orlando Brown signing, what was that, Wednesday night, something like that.
Yeah, and I
So
think what they had said was for Orlando Brown. Um, well, one, he didn't do himself any favors. He gets on the interview and he says, "Well, the reason why it didn't look as good this year is because I'm doing my job alone and I didn't get any help." Not a very good statement to make, to be fair. he could have done better with that.
Definitely not a great statement, but at the same time, if you look probably the last 6 weeks of the season, including the playoffs, a lot of chip blocks from Jarek McKinnon or Pacheco or whoever was out there. A lot of little chippy helping him out. So
Yeah,
um,
good
for
on Orlando Brown though. He gets a decent deal. It kind of hurts going to an up and coming rival.
yeah,
But
I think that's where everyone's kind of at is he kind of gives the Chiefs a fu. I'm gonna go here, uh, but getting the bag. I mean, 31 million signing bonus, and if you look at his
right up front,
if you look at his contract, he's playing for each season is less than 8 mil. So I think this year's 1.5 mil is what he's playing for, but he got
mm-hmm.
that 31 bonus. I think it goes up to 4 and then 5 or 6 on the 3 and 4 years. So
I
not
think
making a lot of
66 million total is what he's getting. I think we offered 77 million guaranteed type money. And I think one of the things that I heard about his contract is he is now going to be able to move wherever he wants come before his 30th birthday. And I think that's pretty huge too, being able to have that sort of mobility to be able to get into another, one last long-term contract before he's done.
Oh, for sure. But I think
So,
he'll be out of there after year 2, or they will sign an extension after year 2 because after year 2 he doesn't have any more guaranteed money. Essentially,
no, they can see what's
he's playing year 3 and year 4 at 5 or 6 million, and then year 4 at 7 or 8 million. So,
yeah.
I think that was a pretty smart move for the Bengals to do it in their window that they're in right now.
And Burrow's been getting hassled these
yeah.
past couple of years. So, I mean, he's gotten crushed. He had sacked seemingly 50 times a year these first couple of years. So, hopefully he's able to stay healthy because, I mean, he is fun to watch. To be fair.
Yeah, for sure.
So picked up Jawan Taylor. Plans on moving him to the left tackle. I would think that would make the most sense. We re-signed Allegretti. I think he can dang near play anywhere on the line.
Yep.
Which is kind of nice. So
Big
we may even have
big depth piece.
We may have our left and rights already kind of shored up. Maybe you have Prince or Kennard play on the right side too.
Or Niang. Niang was
as well.
the guy a couple years ago. Obviously, a couple knee issues, injuries, put him out. Didn't come back until mid-November, I think, this year. Not going to throw him back out there with Wiley playing as good as he was. And they finally said Niang's lost some weight, and his knees finally feeling about back to 100%. So they have faith in him. Is what I've been seeing from Beach and Reed and all those guys. Where, obviously, after the injury, probably put on some weight. That knee's not 100. Getting him down to a weight where they feel like he's going to be his best at maneuvering and blocking and all that stuff. So, and then you got the draft, obviously. So we still got a lot of opportunity to pick up a right tackle. But again, Allegretti, huge depth signing in my opinion. Seems like,
and he already knows the scheme, so
he knows
that's
the scheme.
battle,
I think this last year was his 3rd or 4th year, and I think every year he's had at least 2 starts at a certain position. I know he had 3 starts this past season. Trey Smith was out a couple games.
Mm-hmm.
I think Joe Tooney sat out 1 game as well, and Allegretti was there and didn't skip a beat. So really like the Allegretti re-signing.
Experience. You have Creed you got to pay next year, right? Where's the year after?
It might be next year.
I think Creed you have to pay next year, and Trey Smith I think you have to pay at some point as well. I mean, he's on like $680,000, and I think at this point that's one of the best values for their contract in the whole league.
For sure.
So I mean, you can't have everyone just chilling on.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Creed signed a 4-year deal originally, or if Trey Smith signed a 4-year deal originally.
Mm-hmm.
If they both signed 4-year deals originally, we got another year to put that off. Although I wouldn't like to put him off because that's pay the guys what they're due. You arguably have the best center in the league right now,
Man,
especially the AFC. I would put him and Kelsey at 1-2, 1A, 1B, whatever.
yeah,
Creed definitely the number one center in the AFC, and Trey Smith, I feel like top 5, top 10 right guard in the NFL. So
definitely got. We got a deal and a half with Trey Smith. Took him pretty
yep,
late in the draft. So all credit to Veach, and I think that's one of the reasons why everyone is saying, in Veach we trust, is because you get these guys in late rounds that make huge impacts.
yeah.
So
I
I'm
think
pretty stoked.
I think this past year was the biggest epitome of that. It seemed like almost every draft pick we had this past year was big part
Big.
of the system. I feel like playing over 60-70% of the snaps for the rookies this past season.
Yeah, seventh youngest team I think in the NFL this year. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of room to grow. To be fair, I think moving away from the offensive side of the ball, we head over to the defense, where we had the other three signings. Drew
Mm-hmm.
Tranquil, we have Edwards, the safety from Tampa Bay, and then Amenahu out of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite of the three?
Need wise, I would probably say Mike Edwards.
Need a
With
third
Thorn, with
third safety.
yeah, with Thornhill going, Spags likes to run the 3 safety set, and I think Cook's going to be the starter. And then you're going to have Edwards being that third safety in the box or covering the tight end, running back, um, just doing what Spags normally does. And cheap contract. He had his best year last year of his career, so 1 year, $3 million. I think incentives could bring it to 5. I was hoping for that. I was hoping for a big vet safety pickup.
Yeah, I think he called it in the line chat here, maybe less than 24 hours prior to this. We need to snag another safety that's a veteran.
Yeah.
And questionably had his a down year last year. I think he got played maybe a little bit too much. Hopefully, he's able to kind of play this you know teacher role and fill in the gaps where he needs. Decent ball hawk. I think he's had a pick 6 last year. Had 2 pick 6s the year before. So
Yep.
was definitely a big part of the Tampa Bay
Yep.
championship as well. So
Loving Brian Cook for the other safety spot since losing Thornhill. Love him. I think it took him a while to kind of understand the system, his role, what he was expected to do. But if you go back and look at the playoffs, he had some key plays that made some big differences in the games. He had that tip pass against the Bengals where we got an interception off of it. I just don't want to throw him in the fire right away. So I think that getting a vet presence to kind of, hey, I've been in the league for 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it is for Edwards. I'm not sure how old he is, but kind of this is what's expected. Here's what you need to do, and definitely be a little teacher moment there.
I think with your whole secondary being pretty young at this point, you need to make sure you have and I think Snead needs to be re-signed as well, or extended rather. I think he has to be extended because you really do need some of these. I mean, maybe I don't know. He's going to be 20. He's 27 here right now. He's getting paid $982,000.
Sneeze 27.
27.1. Yeah, so he just turned 27.
Wow. I was younger than that.
So I mean,
he definitely had a red shirt, gray shirt here at some point.
Yeah. We have Trey Smith. We have Creed Humphrey. They're going to be free agents in 2025. So I think those are two. I think you talk about Trey Smith, but Creed I think definitely has to be re-signed. Maybe you find a replacement for Trey Smith in the draft somewhere. If you're able to do this with Trey Smith in the draft from a couple years ago, I mean, he gets probably a decent sized payday as well coming off that. So,
yep.
But going back to the secondary, um, Edwards I think is a good pickup. He's going to add a little bit more. I mean, he's a part of a winning team,
He's got a
especially if
Super
you're
Bowl, yeah.
Super Bowl experience. I think you need to extend Snead. You have Reed as well in the back, but you have like 4 or 5 rookies that are hanging out in that secondary that could be, a little bit of a force come, here a year or two, getting a little bit more time playing together. So
Yep.
it could be pretty nice. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
I I
Who
think
was your best defensive pickup out of those three?
I think Amanehu. I kind of like him. I know he doesn't necessarily get the glamour that Nick Bosa does or Armstead does, but I I think he's going to be a decent replacement for Frank Clark. Frank Clark, I do think you lose a lot of the veteran presence. I mean, you can't be a top. And he's just a performer when it comes down to it. Top
Mm-hmm.
3 in sacks in the postseason.
Yep.
One, you have to get there, and then two, you have to perform. So you have to be on good teams. And I think the one thing that I really loved about Frank Clark, off-field issues, they're kind of silly. What was he doing on some of these things? But his interaction, and you can kind of see this with the championship that the Chiefs had put out earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
His interactions with Karlaftis, and they talked about he was there every single day in the training camp, just going over things to make these kids better.
Yeah,
Those are the type of influences that you need in your locker room in order to be able to make a championship team. I
for
love
sure.
that. Um, I Tranquil, I think is an outstanding pickup. I think it's a decent snag off the Chargers. He had something like 150 tackles, 2 picks, maybe a fumble, something of the sort. But I mean, you get him for cheap as well,
Yep.
and I mean, I think he seems like a pretty instinctive linebacker. I don't know who the odd man out is though.
Yeah. Um, that one kind of threw me for a loop. Um, he was
But I think
obviously,
when you have good players available, you make them fit. And I think Spags likes these hybrids that you can put anywhere on the
yeah,
field.
yeah. That one kind of threw me for a loop. Obviously, he was the best linebacker for the Chargers last year. With Kenneth Murray there,
Yep.
their first round pick a couple years ago. Like it. I mean, I like him as a player. Like you said, just doesn't know where he fits.
Yeah.
We don't play a lot of 3 linebacker sets. That's usually run heavy teams first or second down. You run the 4-3. Otherwise, we usually run the 4-2-5.
Mhm.
So you're correct. Spags loves guys that can play multiple spots, multiple areas, and I know for a fact they'll find a way to and figure out where he's going to be playing. A lot of the talk with signing him was moving to Chanel to edge.
Half of Twitter likes that and like is like okay with it. Half of Twitter's what are we doing?
Yeah, I'm on the what are we doing side of it. I just he's not. I just don't think he's big enough to be on that. I
Mhm.
don't know his measurements, but
He's got some pipes. I just don't know if he's big enough.
yeah, very fast. I know that he's fast linebacker. But again, it comes down to you got 4 stud linebackers. Pretty much Bolton and Gay are set where they're at. Those are going to be our 2 guys on the 4-2-5.
Yep.
And where those 2 other guys fit, Chanel and Trinkle, where they fit. Again, going back to college days, Tranquil was a safety at
Safety.
Notre
Yeah.
Dame. Um, he definitely put on some weight, and they utilized him better as a coverage linebacker. So we'll see how that translates to where the Chiefs want to play him and all that stuff.
We did have a couple injuries last year. Every team is going to go through injuries, to be fair. So
Yeah, depth
I
piece.
think
Yeah,
this is a I think we kind of go down to in soccer and in the other football world. You need players that can do anything and everything, right? It's
Yeah.
interchangeable, kind of a next man up type of experience, and you need that depth.
Yeah.
I mean, no longer are the Ray Lewises, the Brian Urlachers of the world, just these absolute monsters
Hmm.
in the linebacker role. So I mean, you do kind of need a linebacker safety. You need athletic people.
Yeah.
Not to say Ray Lewis and Urlacher are not, but they're not cover linebackers.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I wanted to go back and touch on it. Like mention Onyewu or
Amanehu.
Amanehu. I was going off USA Gucci Onyewu
Oh yeah.
from back in the day. Um, like the signing, not sure about price wise. He's always been a role guy, rotational guy coming in to spell Bosa or whoever was on the other end of the
Armstead, I
49ers
think.
line.
Yeah.
He's D tackle.
Hmm.
But again, they listed him as a D tackle, defensive end as well. So it sounds like he can play both positions, which again that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think they're getting him to replace Frank Clark and not the defensive tackle spot.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a little undersized for the D tackle spot. A lot of pressures last year. Obviously, he had his best year last year. That's why he's getting the contract he's getting.
Some off the field issues, though. We'll see what
We'll
comes
see
of
how that
that.
goes. Some allegations of some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think Veach would have offered that contract if that was a
He's up in the air.
big, huge deal. I feel like he would have vetted that before offering $20 million.
But it was a player that they were looking at coming out of the draft too.
Yeah,
So
2019. Yeah, we were looking at him, and
we ended up snagging him.
Texans ended up getting him in the 5th, and then he got traded to the 49ers last year, obviously. It'll be interesting to see going from a rotational guy, probably playing 50% of snaps. I don't know how accurate that is, but being the guy on the other opposite side of Carl Loftus and pairing him with Jones, I think might be a huge thing where you put them on the same side and let those boys go to work. So
yeah, then you still Carl Loftus. He was the other one on the other side. Sorry. Yeah, and I think you have those two guys on the edge. I think Carl Loftus, his motor is just. I love him. I think Carl Loftus is a freak. I think he's gonna be good.
yeah,
Had a couple sacks here last year. Was definitely probably the low man on the totem pole. Even I guess the other D tackle. What we lost though. I love Colin Sanders.
yeah.
And I hate that we lost him. Good on Colin Sanders though, snagging a decent chunk of change from the Saints. Saints snagged him, a couple other players, but Saunders a freak. I mean, I think he had the only sack in the Super Bowl.
One of two, I think. I think we
One
had
of two. Okay.
But yeah, he big man, minimum 3 bills. He's probably in the 320 range. 320 range. Chasing down Hurts and
off season, he's definitely close to 4, right?
I don't know about that.
350 plus.
Probably in there. Yeah,
he's quick though.
Another.
That's crazy that someone that big can run that quickly.
Yeah, another definitely a guy that light. Again, Veach does a great job of scouting these guys. He went to, Missouri Technical, small school, not D1 school. So Veach
is that the old Rolla?
I'm not sure.
No,
but Veach definitely does a good job scouting, getting these guys from not D1s, just like Joshua Williams, not a D1 corner, but showing out at the senior bowls. Definitely going to miss him. He kind of knew the writing was on the wall with how well he was playing. That
can't keep him around. Can't pay everyone.
Besides, you can't pay everyone. Besides Chris Jones, the other D tackle is probably going to be minimal money and minimal opinions from the Chiefs. I don't think having 2 good D tackles is really on our radar. You pay the Chris Jones the $20 million, and then you get a guy that's a get a couple guys that are run stuffers, and
I can imagine these would be 2 picks in the draft. Maybe late rounders. I can see at least one of them. I think.
I'm not sure about defensive tackles, but I'm definitely feel like we're going 2 or 3 guys D line. So defensive end, defensive tackle, either or. I feel like
Sure.
we're gonna have 2 or 3 of those guys for sure.
So we lose Colin Saunders, Orlando Blair Jr. We already talked about. Got a decent bit of money. Screw the Bengals. I hope Orlando Brown wins, just not against us.
Yep.
And everyone knows Arrowhead Invitational. It comes up, every postseason. So he's going
Once
to
a
have to go
year.
through us. Yeah. Lose Michael Burton to the Broncos. Michael Burton. I mean, he had some pretty big key plays throughout his time as a Chief. Load of third down, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 type ordeals.
Yeah.
But fullback's getting phased out.
Fullback's not a big thing anymore. Sorry, and
what are you doing over there, Brian?
battery's low on the computer. I should have it plugged in.
Rookie mistake. It's all right. Second time. We'll be there, guys. Phased out Michael Burton. Oh man, you didn't have it plugged into the wall?
No.
Oh my god.
That's even plugging.
Man. The Whites are gonna roast us for this. Whitey, Taylor, and Gibb. Rookie maneuver going on over here.
We can just clip that out, yeah.
I haven't mastered those techniques as of yet, so
yeah, it's fine. We can leave it up. Sorry, everyone.
Michael Burton, though, happy for you. I think Sean Payton he's loading up that running game. They picked up a few offensive linemen. They snagged Michael Burton.
Not a big loss. I mean, we probably use the fullback play 2 times a game would be my guess, and it's usually on 3rd and short, 4th and short, goal line plays. I feel like you can get, again, fullbacks getting phased out. Again, that's another free agent or late draft pick where you just invite a guy to camp and say, hey, you're fullback.
Yeah, can you bang? Juan Thornhill, I think he goes to the Browns. I mean, kind of the same vein of Edwards, really. A ball hawk that gets a couple picks a year. They're probably pretty big in the locker room, to be fair. But
I feel like, he's definitely one of those big leaders guys.
Seemed pretty exuberant on the sidelines in regards to the championship documentary throughout the year. So, decent loss, but I think with Edwards, that's a replacement. Juju Smith-Schuster essentially got 3 years from the Patriots of what we paid him. He's only 26, 27 maybe this year.
He's 26.
26.
I think he's actually 25 this year. I think he'll be 26 at the start of the
So
year.
Turns 26. Do we just think he has like 50-year-old knees? A 50-year-old knee?
No, it's more so Tony needs to have more role in the offense. Sky Moore's gonna have a bigger role in the offense. You gotta pick and choose where you want to spend the money, and I'm happy with them holding out and kind of putting that off. Love Juju.
Didn't like the nonsense at the end of the year, but Bill Belichick is going to take that phone and throw it as far away as possible.
Yeah, didn't like the end of the stuff at the end of the year, but he was great all year compared to what he was in Pittsburgh when he was doing TikTok dances and making videos seemingly twice a week, 3 times a week. Big loss in my opinion. But again, you got to pick and choose where you want to spend the money and where you don't. He's one of those guys that finds the holes in the zones in the intermediate routes, and I think Sky Moore's going to be put in that position. I think he will finally figure it out. He made some good plays, some big catches early on in the year when they were integrating him. So I feel like again, Tony and Sky Moore will be integrated more in the offense, and that's why we kind of let him go. And the money was a factor as well.
Hopefully Tony can stay healthy because
Yeah,
I mean he was hurt in Florida. He was hurt of the Giants. He was. I don't know if he just continued being injured when he came over to the Chiefs, but he missed a couple of games there, and then he missed some later on. Tony could be an absolute nut,
yeah,
but
absolute freak.
you have to stay healthy. So
Yeah, absolute athlete. Yeah, just if he stays healthy, I think we're good at that category.
yeah,
So
probably number two wide receiver. Could be the one, but I think with the injuries, you got to be that's uncertain.
yeah,
Who's to? No, we'll find out next year, though. To be fair, Andrew Wiley, we lose him. He follows Eric Bieniemy to
yeah,
Washington. Gets a decent size, bit of money there as well. Um, a couple that are up in the air. We talked about the D tackle or the defensive line in general. Dunlap, I would love to have Dunlap back. That dude
yeah,
bashed about 64 balls to the ground last year.
yep. 6'8", dude. Dude's a mug.
Man, just an absolute tree hanging out in
Yeah,
the line. If you can get him for 3 or 4, I think is what we had him for last year. Another
yeah,
1 year
for
deal.
3. Yeah,
Why don't you snag him back up again?
yeah. Uh, Also comes down to him if he wants to play anymore. I know he was on the verge of retiring last year and ended up coming back for us and set his goals to reach 100 sacks, uh, win the division, and then win the Super Bowl. I forget what the second one was. I know the first two were definitely get to 100 sacks and win the Super Bowl. He had another bullet point on his list, and we got all three of them. I'm not sure what I can't remember what the other one was, but he did what he set out to do. And again, that if you have bullet points going into the year and you're on the verge of retiring and you get all those bullet points, I wouldn't be surprised if he calls it quits.
I mean, why not? There's more to do
But
after football.
another 2 million
Yeah,
might entice him. I don't know.
yeah, maybe. Just depends on whether or not he wants to go through the off season because
Yeah,
not necessarily the off season, but the preseason really, and then stick around for the whole year. I mean, that's a lot of time away from the family. To be fair, so
35 body's not feeling the same as it was either. So
takes a lot to recover.
yeah,
We also have Miko Hardman. I feel so bad for Miko Hardman. I think today he was putting on Twitter different. I think it was a dot 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 4 videos of him in practice, and I don't necessarily think you're going to get signed off of practice videos, but that just sucks. I mean, I've had a couple minute injuries myself. That is the loneliest time is recovering.
yeah.
I mean, that's not an easy thing to do.
Oh, for sure.
I don't even know what he had. To be fair, if it was groin, or if it was pelvis, if it was abdomen,
I think the
seemed like
last one was hip.
hip was in there too.
Yeah,
And he was. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns. I think the most of the wide receiving core throughout the whole year. He may have had a couple other rushing touchdowns too. This sucks. I feel bad for Miko. I
gets a
think
lot of hate that's not
he does.
warranted.
I mean,
I understand some of it in the fact that we didn't think Tyreek Hill was going to play a couple years ago with the allegations and all that stuff against him,
yeah,
and everyone just assumed, oh, this guy runs the same 40 time as Tyreek Hill.
it's the same
They're
player.
going to be the exact same player.
Yeah, it's not how it works.
Definitely not how it works. Definitely gets a lot more hate than he should. Love him.
To be fair,
And
he could have just ended the season last year. Didn't necessarily have to come back from injury, but he chose to play in the playoffs and did have a big catch at the end of one
the
of the
Bengals
games.
game, yeah, the
The
Bengals
Bengals game.
game, where he got re-injured. It was a third down, and Mahomes
Yeah.
did his trickery and threw it, and McCole caught it and got absolutely crunched. And that was kind of the end of it for him. But definitely gets more hate than he should. Also, don't think we gave him a lot of opportunities to be an actual receiver, in my opinion. When I say actual receiver, I mean running routes regularly and being the number 2 or 3 guy wide receiver wise, running routes every play. A lot of times he came in, he'd have 1 or 2 where he'd be the guy running the vert that would bring 2 guys away and go to Kelsey or Juju down low, or he's running the gadget plays where he's sweeping across and getting a little touch pass or a sweep from Mahomes. So didn't feel
Then
like he got a lot
again,
of opportunities.
when you have Patrick Mahomes, these you need these kind of players that can do anything and everything. And I mean, the focus isn't going to be on you. You don't need a wide receiver one. I mean, I guess we've seen this year. You don't need a wide receiver one on the Chiefs.
For sure, no. Uh,
Um,
Mahomes is always going to elevate who is ever out there. So,
yeah, I think at the end of the day, you got to think of this as a big old puzzle. And if it's a perfect square, Mahomes is half of that perfect square.
oh yeah,
You can use all these other little pieces. One piece could fit perfectly with another piece, but just a little bit too big. Contract's too big, right?
yeah.
You can, maybe some of the edges on another piece, or too many injuries going with this guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's the other thing
you
I
just
saw
got to make it
about
work.
McCole. Everyone was saying, don't re-sign him. He's injury prone. It's like, dude hasn't missed a game until this year.
I was gonna
And
say, yeah,
that was the last six games before he got re-injured before in the playoff game. So, would love to have him back. I feel like he's a huge part of this team. Obviously, 2 Super Bowls, champions, being in 3 of them.
Mhm.
He's pretty much, he knows the culture. His rookie year, we won the Super Bowl against the 49ers. So he
I
knows
could
what's
see
expected. And I feel like if right price is there,
we pick
I
him
know
back up.
they were looking at, he was projected around the 10 mil range was what last time I saw for contract. Don't really feel comfortable about giving him 10 million a year. But again, that's not for us to decide. That's more. I mean,
That's the market.
we're couch potatoes.
Yeah.
We're not GMs. We could say what we would like and what we want, but that's not always going to happen. I would love to have him back, but if I'm a GM, I'm not paying that guy 10 million a year.
And the wide receiver market this year just isn't what it was last year. I mean, you had Christian Kirk go off the board for 17 million.
Yeah,
Does anyone
absurd.
touch that this
No.
year?
No. Nobody should have touched that last year. That was
yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Kirk. I don't know.
Kirk set the market, and then Tyreek Hill one of the same thing. Devontae Adams,
Yeah,
was going for that money as well. You just don't have the same market for wide receivers this year.
Yep.
And I mean, I biased. I think Mecole is probably better than Slayton up in the Giants, but Slayton knows the Giants playbook.
Yeah.
We'll see. Wide receivers though, do you think they pick up OBJ, D Hop, any of those?
Oh man,
how much do you think OBJ actually wants?
The last I saw, he was in the 15 to 20.
He said, I think he said today, I don't know where you all came up with this 20 million mark. I just said I didn't want 4.
Okay. So
I
we don't
think
actually know what he wants. I still think he's in double
north of 10.
digits. Yeah, he's definitely, I would say minimum 13 in my opinion.
And he's probably going to want a 2 or 3 year.
Just knowing him and his ego and him thinking he's still top 5 receiver, minimum 13.
Did you see some of those catches though in the workout that he did?
I mean, you can throw balls up and make one-hand catches left and right. That's cool. Do that in the game. Be healthy in the game. Have a guy on you, pressing you at the line.
So he missed 2 years ago. 3 years ago, ACL.
Yep.
Came back, was at the Rams. ACL. Missed last season because of the ACL.
Yep.
31. I tell you,
30.
He's hurt.
Is he 30 or 31?
I think he's 30. 30? Maybe I'm wrong.
Don't like it.
No.
I love
what is he? He's 30. He's going to be 31. He's 30 and a half.
Whew,
So
don't like that. Anything in the 6 to 9 range, I'd be happy with. Again, prefer other guys besides him. I really don't want him, actually. I wouldn't be upset if we got him, but I don't want him.
I think he's also going to want like 2 or 3 years. This is going to be his last contract, right?
Yeah, that, and I feel like he's just kind of a head case, brings a lot of drama that's not needed. I don't know. Just not my guy that I would go for. Again, D Hop definitely wants out. Cardinals in rebuild mode, so it's kind of a get what you can for him.
What do you think I guess you talked about the the drama. Was that really just with Baker though? In Cleveland?
I think so. I think he had some issues in New York as well, and that's why they traded him as well. I don't know if that was. I think that was when Joe Judge was there. I think that was his first year, and I think they had some issues. And then Eli obviously got sour with him, I think, in my opinion, at the end of his career.
And then it goes to the Browns. The Browns are not what they are supposed to be.
Yeah, and
Baker Mayfield doesn't turn out to be what he's supposed to be.
A lot of issues
they just
there.
Don't mesh.
Yeah. He meshed with the Rams though, but I don't know.
Questionable. If he doesn't go down with the ACL, is he the Super Bowl MVP? He had like 50 yards and a tutty.
Yeah, if he keeps going on the pace that he was on, for sure.
That was looking nice.
But yeah, going to D Hop, they're in the rebuild mode. I wouldn't give anything more than a third. He's 31.
Talking about him going to Dallas, I think was the thing that they popped up today.
Okay. But again, if you do give up that third to get him, you got to restructure that contract. You're not going to be paying that guy $19 million. That's absurd.
Yep.
But
I think he wants to be with the winner, right?
He wants to be with the winner, and he's talked about taking a pay cut. Or restructuring, at least, not taking a pay cut, but restructuring.
Now's the time.
Yeah, the big one out there was Thielen. He's 32, I believe, 33, somewhere in there.
Maybe not a bad shout. If you can get a young wide receiver in the draft, if you can get I don't necessarily want that kid from Tennessee. I don't necessarily know if that's worth it, but if you can snag like Quentin Johnson,
Jefferson.
Quentin
Johnson.
Yeah,
no, you're right. You're right.
I think this Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't think he goes. I think he's in the top 20. I don't think he gets out of that.
Yeah, the latest one I saw was second or third round, getting Hutchison from Iowa State. Had 107 catches. He had 107 catches in 12 games, 13 games, whatever it is. So
pretty solid.
A lot of catches. Yeah, we definitely need to go receiver in the draft. Again, I just don't really Thielen, I felt like, was running with concrete shoes on this year. Not as much break and pop and beating man coverage as you would expect. And a lot of times he did break big plays off. It was because Justin Jefferson was getting double, triple teamed. Again, that's another right price thing. You get Thielen for a year for $4 or $5 million.
Yeah,
I'd pull the trigger on that. But anything other than that, because I think he had a 15, 14 cap hit this year, and that's why he got cut, because you're not paying that for a guy not producing that.
Yeah, I think
another one I saw was DJ Chark.
I don't understand that. He's been hurt so much.
Yeah, very injury prone. But again, Veach loves the young guys and seeing if they can fit into our system. He's 25, 26, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I mean, he took another futures deal with John Ross. Kind of same scenario. John Ross was always blown out a hammy or a quad. You know about those, so.
Yeah, every time I step on the pitch. So, John Ross, Same thing with Justin Ross. Justin Ross is closer to being not on the team than he is the number one receiver.
Yeah.
Even I hope the best for him. He could be a nut,
Yeah.
but he's done nothing to prove that he can get on the field yet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Safely.
it is what it is.
But if you get him on the field and he's healthy and doesn't get hurt, you're looking at questionably a T Higgins on your team with Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball. So
Not bad.
but you got to hope for health on that. So
Yeah, I think moving to the rest of the AFC West, Broncos. They picked up a couple linemen to make that place a little bit more stout. They picked up Burton, like we talked about. Who else did they snag?
defensive end,
Stidham.
defensive end from the Cardinals, J.J. Watt's protege is what they were calling him when he was a rookie. Zach Allen, I think is his name.
Let's see.
He got a 3 for 45 somewhere in there.
Yeah, not bad.
D end. He'll probably play a D tackle role because he was obviously playing D end in a 3-4 in Arizona. Broncos play a 4-3, so he'll be moved probably inside if they're gonna have Bradley Chubb's obviously gone. They had another guy on the other side, Randy Gregory. He was the 4-3 DN. So, but I totally forgot about Chubb being gone. So maybe Allen will be the edge on that side. I don't know.
He's 25.5. He's potential out 2 year, 32.5. I mean, he's guaranteed $32.5 million.
Yeah,
they're gonna be counting on him. They picked up.
So they went line this year.
Yeah, they picked up a right tackle, a guard, another linebacker, Stidham, backing up Russell Wilson this
Let
year.
it ride.
We'll see if Russell Wilson comes back to being what he was a couple years ago, not last year, 2 years ago. Samaje Perine goes there as well. They snagged another tight end, and that's about it. To be fair, we'll see. What Sean Payton could be the kicker in all of this. To be fair, though, so Chargers, I think, have done absolutely nothing except lose their linebacker.
Yep.
I don't know what else they've done.
Their safety that they drafted a couple years ago was a free agent. He retired at 25.
That sucks.
Fully healthy, retired, nothing big or anything. Just time to move on. And I saw that the other day. Nasir Adderley calling it quits. And good luck to him and being healthy and getting out before he felt like it was worth it. So
then moving to the Raiders, big snag for them, Jimmy G. Is he any different than Derek Carr? Is that a downgrade? Derek Carr,
I think that's a downgrade in my opinion. Derek Carr, Derek Carr's
Can you
stud.
believe that? $45 million guaranteed for Jimmy G.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those scenarios. Is that going to push you over the top? It's not going to push you over the top.
They pick up Jacoby Myers for essentially the same deal. I think that Juju Smith-Schuster gets.
But you also lose Darren Waller.
You lose Waller. I don't know what they're thinking.
So you don't have a tight end currently.
You just paid that man last year, and now you're going to get rid of him.
And then Foster Moreau's a free agent currently, so they don't have a tight end that played on their team last year currently.
Jacoby Myers and Hunter Renfrow, are they playing the same position? I think I saw over 60% of the snaps on respective teams. They are playing in the slot.
That'll be interesting to see how that works out. Obviously, Jacoby Myers is bigger. You're going to probably play him on the outside more than you would Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is strictly slot, in my opinion. It'd be interesting.
I don't know what they're...
Because I think the other receiver they had last year, besides Adams and Renfrow, Mac Hollins was the other receiver that had some pretty good games and pretty good year.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how that works out. Don't really think they did anything defensive wise.
I think Chiefs still win this division, but Broncos may sneak, and I guess the Chargers. What does Allen? How healthy does Allen stay? How healthy does Williams stay?
Yeah,
And does Eckler? I think Eckler probably stays. I can't imagine with all these. I mean, I think the highest contract for the running backs is like 3 years, 18 million. I
yeah.
don't know if he leaves for that. What's our stock for
That one's interesting for me. That guy's been your whole offense the last
2 years at least,
minimum 2, probably 3.
getting
He's
15
been your
touches a year.
offense. Huge guy. You keep him healthy because you don't give him multiple carries every game. I think he averaged under 10 carries a game.
Yeah.
But was averaging at least 5 or 6 catches a game. So you're keeping him healthy, not having him run through the trenches all the
Yeah.
time. You have Roundtree and
Isaiah Spiller.
was he the other one that was getting a lot of carries?
Oh no. Kelly.
Justin Kelly, I think is his name.
I'm not sure, but
you have Kelly and Roundtree, and those guys taking the bulk of those in between the tackle carries. So you're keeping him healthy, and I feel like he's been your best player on offense the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if they trade him, but at the same time, he could hold out. And yeah,
he only has one more year on his contract, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if I'm him, I just go back to the Chargers this year. Was he 27, 28?
He's 27, probably be 28 sometime in the beginning of the new year.
Yeah. I mean, test free agency next year. I think Chargers are still a good team. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but
yeah,
we'll see. They got a new offensive coordinator, kid from Dallas, I think it was. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with them.
Yeah.
AFC East. Oh my gosh, they could be loaded. Starting out Dolphins. Dolphins snag Jalen Ramsey, have him and Howard.
1-2 combo.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball, right? You got Waddle, you got Hill,
Yep.
You got Howard, you got Ramsey. You picked up Chubb last year. I think they may have snagged another defensive lineman. Who else did they get? Well, let's see. They picked up Mike White. Pick up Mike White from
backup quarterback.
Yeah. Wilson and Mostert, those guys re-signed. You had David Long coming in from Tennessee. That's not a bad snag from Tennessee. I think he was kind of a bright spot in dreadful Tennessee defense the last 8 weeks. You watch them just slide. Other than that, I think it's a matter of, does he stay healthy?
That's going to be the kicker. How far they go is if Tua stays healthy.
Yeah.
I still think that division is run by the Bills. So until someone knocks them off,
if the Jets get Rodgers, are they number one in the division?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You still take the Bills over them?
Mm-hmm.
Bills lost Edmonds. They re-signed Poyer. I think Tremaine Edmonds went to the Bears. That's a decent loss, I think.
No, that's a huge loss, but
let's see, Buffalo.
I still feel like that's the team to beat. I think putting Aaron on that team. What did the Jets finish? 7-10.
Yeah, they also lost Breece Hall. They didn't have a quarterback. Zach Wilson's throwing the ball. They should have just kept Flacco in at that point, or just let Mike White go.
What I'm saying though is, I don't think the Jets are going to win that division. I think the Jets are a playoff team, though.
Okay,
you're going to be.
That's pretty nice defense.
In my opinion, I think it'll be a 10-7, 11-6 team. But if you're going off the Bills' previous seasons, the Bills have always been a 14-3. 13-4 team.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the Jets are kind of looking at, and then obviously
Secondary
Miami.
for the Bills, is that dodgy?
They were signed Dane Jackson the other day, so I think their secondary is pretty much the same. Kind of
Okay.
depends on Micah Hyde if he's healthy or not as the other safety.
Yeah.
Boyer.
Poyer and Hyde, pretty good players.
Yeah.
Questionably, I mean, one of the better safeties combos in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
Edmonds, I think losing Edmonds though, that sucks.
That's a huge loss. I would
That's
assume they go for sure linebacker early rounds.
Yeah.
Or O line. Their O line's kind of
Uh, it also, I think it matters whether or not Allen can hold on to the ball, whether
Yeah.
it be a pick or a fumble.
A
Him
lot of
and
red zone turnovers this year for some reason.
him and Matt Ryan, I think, were leading the league in fumbles by quarterback, right?
Yeah, and I think Allen led the league in red zone turnovers.
Yeah, you got to put those away.
Yeah.
Good enough to overcome in a lot of situations, but
And
if you're going to be deep in the playoffs, you got to convert.
then obviously
So
you got the Pats.
they're
They're always going to be around
trash.
500. They're going to be trash, but they're always going to be around 500 with Bill. Just what
Juju,
it
good
is.
luck to him, but I don't know if anyone's throwing him that ball.
Again, yeah, the Bill Belichick teams has always been defensive strong. They'll be around 500. I would say 7-9, in my opinion.
So
Or
Bill's still taking the top
7
spot
to 10.
then.
I would go Bills.
If Tua is healthy, Tua stays healthy.
I would still go Bills.
Okay, Bills. I go Dolphins if Tua stays healthy.
Where's that put the Bills then? You still have them making the playoffs? Or no?
I think three teams come out of the AFC East next year. If
Okay.
Rodgers goes to the Jets.
Okay, cool.
I think if Rodgers go to the Jets, I think Jets win that division. Brees Hall stays healthy. You have Garrett Wilson.
Even staying healthy, but
Sauce.
he's tearing ACL. You're losing the step. You're losing a little bit of.
That's fair.
Again, a lot of times when you tear an ACL, you're not 100 right from the get go. It takes you a year and a half to get back to where you were.
Yeah.
Love Brees Hall. Huge. He was going to be rookie of the year before he got hurt. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Sliding to the AFC North. I mean, Ravens. What are we doing? I don't know if we need to talk about them.
Not particularly.
I think you got to pay Lamar Jackson though. I think any of these teams that don't have a quarterback, I get it. You are giving up a couple first rounders, but Lamar Jackson is still a freak.
Still free, but you still got to pay the 200 guaranteed. What's the actual number contract wise besides the guarantee?
Turned down 3 years, 133 million guaranteed the other day. I think I saw. That's what he posted anyway.
Yeah. Again, Ravens wise, you kind of have to pay the man, or at least you just go into the year of him on the franchise tag. That's kind of what you're gonna have to do. I don't think any team's gonna be willing to pay what he exactly wants and 2 first rounds. I just don't see him going anywhere else. But at the same time, Ravens, you built your entire offense around him and his style of play. So if you do end up taking a trade that some team comes out of nowhere and it's like, okay, I'm down to make that trade, how do you go from there? What do you do offensive wise? Quarterback, do you think you can run that and do as good as you have done the last 4 or 5 years with Lamar, with Huntley? I don't think they're anywhere near the same type of player.
No.
I think he just goes into the year on the tag, and that division's. If you're going 3 in the AFC East, that means you're either going 2 from the North or 2 from the West.
West.
So you're
I don't know
So you're only having
Sorry.
one team from the North make the playoffs.
I don't think Pittsburgh makes it. I don't think Baltimore makes it, and I do not think the Browns make it.
Okay, so
I think
we're
the
on the
Browns are a
same
better
page.
team.
We're on the same page there then. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
I think the Browns are a better team. I think Deshaun Watson does come around, um,
I don't think that
but
puts them over the edge though.
no, I don't think so either. Bengals far and away. You snag Orlando Brown. I think that kind of shores up some problems on the line.
Yep.
He's already making some causing some problems over there. Their left tackle wants to leave.
Yeah.
I don't know where he goes. I've seen
Oh,
possibility
you
of the
looked at his stats.
Jets,
You looked at.
Patriots.
I'd be find it hard to believe that he would find another spot quickly right away. Um,
Yeah,
if you look at he gave up 10, 12 sacks last year from just his side. I'd find that hard to believe that some team's willing to put a big uh, draft pick into that. We'll see.
yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah,
fair. Uh, Baby crying in the background, Brian.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I
We're good.
think.
She's just finding her spot. We're good.
Okay. We just have one more. We're gonna stick with the AFC and then we'll be done. AFC South. Ugh, another division
Do we
that's.
really need to talk about the AFC South?
Jaguars are nice. Colts.
Besides
Colts
that,
should
that's
be.
that's what I was getting at. It's Jaguars division to lose, and I think
Colts.
that's going to be a thing for the next. As long as Trevor Lawrence is there, I feel like, and Doug Peterson are together, that division's Jaguars to lose, in my opinion.
Who goes number one overall?
Overall, draft wise,
Houston. Yeah. Who does Houston or
Houston's
Panthers
not
take?
one.
Who does Panthers take? Who do the Panthers take?
They're talking about C.J. Stroud currently.
So CJ Stroud, and then so that means let me sneak this real quick. So CJ Stroud goes number one overall. Houston takes Bryce Young.
Or Will Levis, or Florida quarterback.
Ranthor Richardson.
Yeah.
Um,
I know a lot of people are placing. A lot of people place height, hands, weight into quarterback play. Obviously, Bryce Young was measured at Alabama
5'10".
higher than what he was.
I think he came out 5'10" in the
but
combine.
I think every college team does that. I remember switching over sports when we go back to Michael Beasley from K-State back in 08.
Sure.
K-State had him on their, and the whole NCAA had him as 6'10", 6'11". Went to the combine for the NBA, 6'8". So yeah. I think everybody kind of inflates the heights. I think a lot of times scouts and teams put too much weight into that. But again, I'm just a couch guy, so
yeah,
they know a lot more about than I do.
I think looking at he's a small dude, but realistically, he does have monsters hanging out in front of him on his offensive line.
Yeah,
right.
That's always been the thing with Alabama quarterbacks coming to the league, and they look average. So
we'll see. I think Titans. I really like Vrabel. I think they're poked. I don't know what they do with Derrick Henry. I don't know who would want them. I don't know how you get rid of that. Do you keep Tannehill? Malik Willis did. I mean, he played against the Chiefs.
I would say the new GM talked about keeping Tannehill.
Really?
Recently. So not a lot of faith in Malik Willis. You're in the late teens draft pick wise. You're not going to be able to get a quarterback unless you trade up. I think Titans missed their window to do some things in the playoffs. I think their window's kind of closing, and they're looking more to a rebuild.
They have to. They're trying to build a new stadium too. I think they're putting a slew of money into a new stadium out there, if I'm not mistaken.
Titans were the team that kind of was the top team in that division the last couple of years. Houston and Jacksonville were in the rebuilds. Jackson's out of the rebuild now and into playoff mode, win now mode, with Lawrence on that rookie contract.
ETN coming. You got Calvin Ridley next year.
Yeah.
Kirk, Zay Jones, Ingram. I mean, he's a free agent this year.
Well, they franchise tagged him.
They did tag him. Okay.
Yep. So,
so
Ingram's
get him back.
So
and in another couple of years with the defense getting older. So
yeah. And then Houston. I think Houston's always going to be bottom feeders in that division, just kind of how it is.
Ryan could turn around. D'Amico Ryan could turn it around, though.
I love D'Amico Ryan's solid player. Loved him when he was killing it. He was always my fantasy wise when we had defensive player. That would be my guy I always drafted defensive player wise. Stud. Killed it for San Francisco this year as a D coordinator. So we'll kind of see how
he's been a part of a winning program.
He turns it
San
around.
Francisco is always in the mix. Jaguars, though, I think they take this one away. Unless someone gets hurt, I don't see them getting beat by anyone.
Yeah,
we'll see.
And then, the Colts, they're probably in rebuild mode.
Got rid of Paris Campbell. They got rid of Gilly
Ryan.
Lock.
And Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan's gone.
I think that GM, I don't know if it's the same GM or not, but he finally figured out that you can't keep paying big prices for an old
just doesn't work.
Old quarterback that was relevant 5 years ago from when they got him.
They snagged the offensive coordinator for Philadelphia. Minshew comes with him.
Yeah, I don't think you go with Minshew going into the year, but I also seen the reports they don't feel like anybody quarterback wise is their guy. I saw that the other day. They're not feeling like any quarterback in this draft they feel comfortable with thrown out there and to the Wolves right away.
Minshew could play for 7 games.
Well,
8
I feel
games, like whatever. Hit the bye week and then you throw your new quarterback in there.
In my personal opinion, I think they're gonna go with Minshew. I think they're gonna go with Minshew this year and go next year because the quarterback market is a lot better next year than it was this year.
That's fair. They got the 4 pick here this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could probably trade down out of that, snag another pick here next year.
I think they need to finally go into rebuild mode and stop trying to patch a gaping hole in the offense. Let's say a couple years ago, it was Jacoby Brissett was their starter for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They went with Rivers, and then they went with Matt Ryan. I think the patch and fix is done, though. So
they paid so many dudes on the offensive line too. That was probably maybe not the best use of money, but I think that's one thing with a lot of these teams is you got to make sure that you have a plan. What does your puzzle look like?
Yep.
And AFC loaded with top
quarterback talent.
Oh my! Yep. I mean AFC West, Russell 34. I don't know. We'll see. But you got Mahomes, Herbert up and coming, Raiders. That's laughable. Jimmy G. I don't know what they're doing. Josh Allen for the Bills. You got Tua with the Dolphins. Jets possibly snagging. Rodgers. Patriots are the odd man out in this one. Bengals have Burrow. Ravens, not sure what they're doing. I'm not really sure what Pittsburgh's doing either. I don't know.
Pittsburgh is another one of those where defense is. I mean, the defense has been the thing the last 10, 12 years. Defense keeps them in the games. Defense keeps them in the season.
But their offense can't do anything.
Their offense is,
Pickens is a freak, though.
Pickett did all right.
Pickens. Pickens is a freak. Pickett, I'm not too high on.
No, I don't know. Yeah, Pickens, stud receiver. Was hoping the Chiefs would have grabbed him last year.
Yeah.
but I think we went with Sky Moore instead of him. Different route, slot guy, short guy,
Yeah.
instead of the guy that can go up and get the balls. Pickett had some unreal catches, but I still don't think Pickett's that guy. Um, Maybe they need to shore up the O line a little better, and we'll go from there. But a lot of the games that they won were in the teens, so not putting up a lot of points to win games. But when you have a defense that's got a Hayward, Watt, and Fitzpatrick,
You can
be in
stay
a
in
lot.
some games.
You're gonna stay in some games that you shouldn't stay in. So
Najee Harris did absolutely nothing last year. That
correct.
was
Yeah.
a huge bust. I don't know what
Deontay
happened.
Johnson didn't do much.
But, yeah.
That offense was pretty much Fryermuth and Pickens, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then they traded away Claypool, so he really wasn't doing anything. Deontay Johnson had so many just fumbles, like just drop passes. It's like, what are you doing?
I think he averaged like 6 catches a game for like 30, 40 yards. Nothing spectacular. I was hoping he would be the kicker to my fantasy squad, and he got dropped after week 7 or 8, where I said I'm just done with it. So
yeah, it's tough to keep those guys around.
Yeah,
Cleveland, I do think Deshaun Watson is going to return to being a top 7 quarterback in fantasy football. I mean, he was averaging like 20 points a game fantasy wise here a couple years ago. Don't necessarily know how that translates.
Okay, I would say a couple years ago. I thought you were going to say this year. I was like, he was not averaging 20 a game this year.
No, he looked like he hadn't played in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, who you got receiver wise there? That was the question. Amari Cooper,
pretty nice.
I don't think they had a
David
connection.
Bell, I think, is a rookie. I don't know what's
Njoku.
Njoku
Had a good
Njoku's
rapport with
nice.
Brissett. I don't think him and Watson ever figured it out yet.
No.
So if they get a full off season where they're figuring it out and throwing every day, and hey, this is where I like the ball. This is where the route I want you to run. And when I call this play, I think they'll be in that 500 range as well. But I think they missed the playoffs as well. I think that's the Bengals division to lose.
Of the so recap the AFC then, who's won free agency thus far?
AFC wise,
Dolphins is a big name.
Yeah, Dolphins are up there. Bills,
Bengals.
I would say Bills were more minus than plus.
Yeah.
Pats,
I don't know.
Split. They didn't really. They let Myers go. They signed Juju. It's kind of a split there.
If Jets get Rodgers, I think Jets have won free agency. I know we didn't necessarily talk about Alan Lazard. I don't know if that does anything.
No,
for them.
But again, looking at that, if they do get Aaron Rodgers, I think Elijah Moore is gone from the Jets.
Is that a pickup that the Chiefs want to explore?
Elijah Moore?
Yeah.
No.
Not at all.
I think that's out of the question. I think if you're the Packers, you automatically say, hey, if you want Rodgers, I want first round, second round, and Elijah Moore coming my way. Because, again, if you look at the Jets wide receiver market right now, you got Lazard, Garrett Wilson's your number 1, Elijah Moore, and then you have Corey Davis. One of those guys has got to go to the Packers. If I'm the Packers, I say hard pass on Corey Davis because he's close to 30 and his contract this year is $10 million. Elijah Moore's 23, 24, and he's still on a rookie deal. So I would automatically throw him into the, hey, if you want Rodgers, Elijah Moore's got to be a part of the deal if I'm the Packers.
I don't know what the Packers are doing. They have a player that doesn't want to be there. They both publicly said that they are wanting to part ways. Aaron Rodgers could sit on the bench for $59 million.
Yeah.
Packers don't have any leverage. You could say you want a first round. Jets be all right.
Yeah.
And just hold out.
I think it's definitely time to move on.
You can't make any moves if you're the Packers or really the Jets, to be fair. But I think their squad's already set up to be pretty nice. You just need a quarterback.
Yep.
Packers are doing nothing as they normally do in free agency.
Yep.
Um, yeah, if the Packers are asking for a first rounder, one, I think you wait until after the draft and just say, hey, what do you got?
Yeah.
And then just sit. Aaron Rodgers is going to be. I mean, he's not going to be content
Yeah.
with hanging out there. So
So yeah, I feel like we'll get more into that NFC side on our next episode.
yeah, we got the NFC. We also got I think we're gonna be bringing out a couple mates of the Bucks, the Ravens, and the Eagles. Get a little bit more insight into in regards to what they're doing off season. You know how they felt in regards to their last season,
Yeah.
and what are they going forward. So anything else you can think of at all, Brian?
No, yeah, like you said, we're gonna bring those guys on, get some other perspectives besides just Chiefs. That's kind of what we're shooting for.
Yeah,
We just don't want this to strictly be a Chiefs channel. I mean, although we are gonna favor them and talk about them more than others, we definitely like to bring some more guys in and talk about what our teams are hoping for and how they feel about free agency so far, what they're kind of shooting for in the draft, that kind of thing, and definitely talk about the NFC and the free agent side of that so far. I know we did AFC tonight and kind of talked about Chiefs and big issues on
NFC
there.
is to
So
come. Yeah.
yeah,
So well, good luck tomorrow, Brian. Kansas State and Kentucky.
yeah.
Who do you
Well,
got in that one? You
I mean, I'm
what's your
always
heart
rooting for
say?
the
What's your head say?
heart, always K State, but
Okay.
head, I don't think we're gonna come out with the win. So
From my bracket says K State. Don't
well,
look too much into that because I did not watch. I watched one basketball game,
so
college basketball
yeah.
game this year.
Well, I
So
appreciate it.
yeah, good luck everyone. We'll catch you on the next stream, and hope you all take care. Enjoy March Madness. I hope your brackets are looking pretty nice. Mine's busted, so I
Ditto.
didn't win anything. So take it easy, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one, guys.